Hello again and welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is for the Tunisian stitch. It's the basic Tunisian stitch that you can see this this blanket that I've made. I'll just zoom in a little bit so that you can see how the stitch is formed. It's quite an easy stitch to do, although it looks complicated, and it is a little bit like a cross between knitting and crochet, really. So I'll show you the hook that I'm going to use. It's the same as a normal hook at this end, but it's got the long tube with a little bead on the end, so that if you're doing a really wide blanket, all the stitches will sit on this on the tube. So we start with a chain as always, and the chain can be as long as you want the width of your project to be. For this particular tutorial, I'll just do a smaller swatch as always. So I'm just going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And as you can see, I've actually worked the chain quite loosely. If you work the chain loose, it stops the work curling at the bottom, but if you do get a curling of your work, you can rectify it by just putting a border around the blanket that you've made. So I'm using at the moment a 6.5mm hook, and I'm working with a double knit yarn. So we don't actually need the tube this particular time, but I'm going to still use the Tunisian hook. So we're going to start by picking up a loop from the second chain from the hook, which is this one here. Just zoom in a little bit. So into the chain, pick up a loop, and we're not going to do anything else with that loop. We're just going to do the same all the way along the chain, into the chain, pick up a loop, into the chain, pick up a loop, into the chain, pick up a loop, and all the loops stay on the hook. And just carry on all the way along until we get to the end. It doesn't matter how you hold the hook, you can hold it like a pen or like a knife. It's entirely up to you, whichever way feels more comfortable. And just carry on picking up a loop from each chain all the way to the end. So we've now got to the end of my chain, and you can see here, if you'd got a lot more, they would slide onto the tube. You can actually get longer than normal hooks for Tunisian work, but that's fine if you're only doing something with a smaller amount of stitches. If you're going to make something wide, you would need these the hooks with the tube on the end. They're quite cheap to pick up. I think I got my set from eBay quite cheaply. I've got a set that are plastic and a set that are bamboo, and I do prefer the bamboo one. So the first row, we're always going to start, and we're working backwards now, which is a little bit different to normal. We don't turn the work at all, we just work backwards on this one side. So we always start by making a chain with the first stitch. We're then going to yarn over and pull through 2 stitches. 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 We're going to do exactly the same all the way along the row, yarn over and through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, and carry on all the way to the end until you've just got the one loop again on your hook. So we're now going to work into these vertical bars that formed from the previous row, and we start with the very first one. We're going to pick up a loop. We don't do anything else with that loop. We're going to go into the next vertical bar and again pick up a loop. We're going to work the same all the way across the row, picking up one loop from the vertical bars. Picking up a loop, and the final one is this one here. Don't forget that last loop where we pick up another loop. Again, we're going to do a chain 1 as the first stitch, then we're going to do exactly the same as we did before, which is yarn over and through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, just carry on all the way across. Until we reach the other end of the row, where again you go through the last 2, and we've now got the 2 rows that have formed there. The other side, on the reverse side, it actually looks like the purl row of knitting. So you've got a right side and a wrong side. So the next row, and it's just a repeat of this one row. Once you've done the foundation row, you're just going to repeat this same row into the vertical bar, pick up a loop, into the bar, pick up a loop, into the bar, pick up a loop, and so on until you get to the other side. And again, don't forget this very last stitch here, which is the final vertical bar, that we always pick up a loop on that final one. And then again, don't forget to chain 1, and then we're going to work through 2 loops each time. So yarn over, through 2, 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 and so on until we get to the other side. So there you can see the Tunisian stitch working up quite nicely. I've worked excuse me, I've worked a few more rows exactly the same because I'm using a variegated colour changing yarn. I'm just going to show you what happens to the pattern when you're using a yarn that changes colour. So the first stitch is the chain, and then we're going to work through 2 across the row. You soon get into the rhythm of this stitch, and it does work up quite quick really, once you've got into the rhythm of just yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. The only thing you need to remember is on the start row, sorry, on the first stitch on the backwards yarn overs, you do need to do the 1 chain as the first stitch. So there we have the Tunisian stitch. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.